Hello, and welcome to CDO Magazine's Tech Talks. I'm Nick Halsey, the CEO of Akira Software, and rejoining me for the third segment of our interview this morning is Tom Mazzaferro, who's the Chief Data Officer at Western Union. Welcome back, Tom.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
We wrapped up the last session talking a little bit about the very sophisticated infrastructure that you've put in place at Western Union and how you've started to be able to take advantage of that data infrastructure to start to build new products and services, both for your internal constituents and also new products to offer to your customers. Can you talk about some of the technologies that have adopted to help build those products? Are using big data platforms, analytic services, machine learning tools? What's the mix that helps you get creative around building those products?
Sure. So there's a couple different layers in this, right? So the first one is having the right foundation, right? So that includes having the right underlying infrastructure and platform. So today we use two cloud platforms, both AWS and GCP. And as part of that, as you look to build any kind of data products or analytical solution or services, you need to make sure that the data you're using is accurate, good, and clean, right? So having the right controls and framework in place to actually have the right information being fed in, that is cleansed, that is good to use and accurate and reconciled, right, is extremely important. Then we try to actually build up the stack from there, right? We actually look to then build up our data lake, right, where we use a Snowflake as our strategic data lake on AWS and on GCP. And then we build models or analytical solutions on top of that. So we use a plethora of different solutions today. So for some of our modeling capabilities, we actually use SageMaker on AWS, which allows us to basically build R and Python models, right? That then we can drive to improve our customer experience, our marketing campaigns, our risk and compliance processes, as well as our fraud processes. On top of that, we also use some of our solutions on GCP. So we use TensorFlow plus a few other AI and ML capabilities to do very similar things as well, where they have a slightly different capability, right, within their stack compared to SageMaker. We also then have the ability to visualize that information, right? And to be able to understand what we're looking at. Is it being used in the proper way? Is a model performing as it should, and so forth? From that, we use Power BI and Tableau to actually visualize our information, visualize our reports, our performance as a company, and our customers going forward to make sure they're being serviced appropriately.
I'm curious why you guys decided to deploy across two different clouds. Is that because of the different technical capabilities? Google's sort of thought of more as a data science cloud platform, and AWS is a more, production application. What was it that caused you to use them both?
So we've defined a strategy with our head of cloud to make sure that we have the proper resiliency in place, just in case one of the cloud providers in the future ever had an issue where they wanted to stop services, right, or run down that business. So in turn, we actually have built solutions that are cloud agnostic that allows us to either deploy them on AWS or GCP going forward. So that way, we can always make sure that we support our customers and our services and our products going forward, whether it be on AWS or on GCP going forward, depending on if there is any disruption in service in the future.
So it's really a risk reduction strategy, if you will.
That's correct. It is. Now, there also are different capabilities that are also offered on both platforms that we also take advantage of as well, obviously, right? But we want to make sure that for the large majority of all of our solutions, they're being cloud agnostic so that we can be able to deploy on either, depending on any downturn, right, in those companies.
I'm curious, it's highly unlikely that either one of those cloud service providers is actually going to go down completely, but have you tried to engineer your infrastructure so you could fail over from one cloud to the other if that eventuality did happen, or is that just too unlikely that it's not worth trying to engineer for that?
So we've built solutions that fail over between data centers within each cloud provider. So for Amazon, for example, we have two different instances on different data centers, right, supporting our applications and processes today. And we do test that we can fail over, right, and provide those services on either the data center within AWS or within GCP. Right. We also make sure that we have high availability. So if something does happen with the network or the data center itself, we can fail over in a reasonable amount of time to provide those services going forward to our customers. From a standpoint of failing over between cloud providers, we don't see that as a need, right? If there is a downturn, right, with one of these overall companies, and we do need to basically migrate off, we foresee a 6 to 12 month roadmap there where we can move things over, migrate workloads over, and so forth within a 6 to 12 month time frame to basically make sure that we're supporting our customers go forward. But from a standpoint of having resiliency across both cloud providers, at this point in time, we don't see the need for that.
When you are talking to CDOs across different industries, is that a two-cloud strategy something you recommend broadly, or do you think that's something that's specific and unique to the needs of Western Union?
I think it's something that is unique to different industries that you operate in. So some industries, such as banking and financial services, right, this has been recommended across multiple different financial institutions to date because of how critical banking and financial services are to the underlying economies across the world, right? And to make sure that these banking services continue going forward. For other industries that don't require that type of resiliency, then that type of overall strategy may not be needed going forward for their business lines.
Well, it creates a fair amount of significant incremental cost, and of course, the training and management is more complex. So that makes a lot of sense. You mentioned you're using Snowflake. Of course, Snowflake's getting a lot of press. It's having its summer in the sun with their rather impressive IPO.
Yep.
What drew you to the Snowflake platform, and is that again something requirements unique to financial services, or why do you think it's a compelling data platform?
So the overall platform that we put in place with Snowflake is highly scalable, right? It's diverse where we can plug in multiple different solutions and tool sets into it, right? It allows us to basically provide the right type of performance needed to support our customers, right? Whether it be in real time or near real time, right? Based upon the different services and products that we offer to our customers. So we've seen great success with Snowflake. From a standpoint of other financial industries, I've seen that other banks have also adapted or adopted Snowflake going forward as part of their platform. I think it's an absolutely great technology. I know there's a few other ones out there in the marketplace today, but what I've seen is I think Snowflake is one of the leading solutions for this type of technology across the different cloud providers today.
And you mentioned real time, and of course, Western Union does a massive amount of real time financial transfer. I mean, it's the lifeblood for many international workers to move money around between home and where they're working and all of that sort of thing. What are the real time implications on your architecture, and what kind of data pipelining have you built in to support that?
Yeah, so real time is key, right, to our business model and support the services and our customers going forward. So we've put in place a Kafka, right, to basically provide those overall streaming services, right, both on-prem and on cloud, to support those capabilities and those products going forward. This has been key, right, to make sure that we can provide both high availability, but also real-time data feeds to support those products and customers going forward.
And as you start to think about the future, I know you've only been with the company as your first year, so you've got a run in front of you. When you think about digital transformation initiatives that you'd like to launch, where do you see great opportunity? And also, if you could sort of contextualize that, like, how would you encourage other CDOs who are listening to think about how to prioritize the right digital initiative at their company?
Sure. So there is great opportunity here, right? That's one of the reasons why I joined, is that I see a huge opportunity for us to better service our customers, provide additional products to them going forward. That always includes and requires a partnership, right, with the business teams, the product teams, right, the operations teams, and the IT teams, right, to make that actually come to life. Right. We are actually looking to launch some very intriguing opportunities in the future. I can't speak to them today on this call, but some very intriguing ones going forward that can really provide some great services and products going forward for our customers. One piece of advice that I would give to other CDOs listening in today is it's all around partnership. It's all around bringing together the ideas and the opportunities across the business lines and the IT lines, right? To basically identify how can we best go to market, how can we best provide this product or service to these customers, and how it can really help them in their day-to-day lives. One thing that I've seen in the past couple of years that really have shifted is that, especially with some of these large IT companies, Apple, Google, Amazon, and so forth, is that they have a huge amount of innovation right now coming from their IT teams, right? And they had their business teams managing that and obviously refining and improving it, right? And I see a big shift happening in the industry today where we actually have products that are being created and generated and ideas coming from the IT teams and actually being pitched and actually then supported by the business teams going forward, because that's the journey that we're actually moving towards, right? Is how do we make IT work for us? How do we make IT make our lives every day easier and better, right, to live and support our families? And I think that's a really key piece of the actual shift here across many industries, is that a lot of these new products and services are actually coming from the IT side, and then basically partnering with the business teams to then go and deploy them going forward.
But let's think about that. That's really important. We talk a lot about digital transformation and technology and clouds and, streaming and all of that. But you're making the point that organizational transformation is as important as the digital transformation. So, what's some advice you can give to your peers about how to initiate and manage that creative side of the business?
Sure. So I really think about it in two different lenses. Lens one is you have to make sure that you're always supporting, your core business and your core solutions today, right? Because that would basically keep the business running, right? And as part of that, there's always going to be the need to modernize that and to digitize it going forward. On top of that, right, there are always new opportunities and new products and services that can come out that can be complementary, right, to your current service offerings today, or can be a new frontier for you, right, to basically go into and open to a new marketplace in the future, for example, right, and those are the opportunities that really requires that partnership and that alignment, right, across both the IT teams as well as the business teams going forward. And as I mentioned a bit earlier, some of these new products and services, right, can actually be IT driven, right? Where technology is actually enabling those products, and technology is actually building those products, and technology is actually is the one that is the foundation for that service coming up, right? Rather than always being the traditional business product teams going forward. So it really is a collaborative effort. It really is a partnership going forward, and we've seen great collaboration across our teams, and it's just going to improve going forward.
That's fantastic, Tom. What a great model of both organizational and digital transformation to drive new business growth while securing the core business assets. That sounds like a fantastic strategy. I'm afraid we're out of time for today. Folks, it's been great talking to Tom Mazzaferro, Chief Data Officer at Western Union. I hope you get a chance to hear all 3 episodes in this series. And Tom, thanks again for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Thanks so much.
Been a pleasure.